So in today's Grand Theft Auto 5 Online video, I actually wanted to talk a little bit about a couple in particular of the new Freemode events that came in with the most recent GTA 5 Online update. These ones are going to be the Close Call Challenge and the Criminal Damage Challenge. Now, for those of you that don't know, the Close Call Challenge is where you have to be on a land vehicle and get as many close calls to cars as you possibly can. Now, this can be either in a bike, in a car, a truck or anything, and you have to just have a streak of missing very narrowly different cars on the road, whether it be other players or pedestrians or other AI drivers. You have to pass close to them in a streak without crashing to get your score to go up to, in theory, win. And of course, Criminal Damage is where in a certain amount of time, about 5 minutes, you have to cause the most amount of damage, which is scored in amount of dollars, in a single 5-minute kind of timer. In this video, I'm going to be giving you guys tips for both of these things, but also I'm going to be explaining how the Criminal Damage Challenge can also be one of the best paying challenges in the entire update. So, if you guys do end up enjoying the video, be sure to go and drop a like down below, as it really would help me out as always. Now, let's go. So we're going to start off with the Close Call Challenge. Now this is definitely, and I think most people have probably figured this out by now, best done on a bike. Now in particular I use the Batty 801 as my main bike in game, as it is of course much thinner than a standard car, and it means you can kind of weave in and out of traffic much easier and much less dangerously. You don't run the risk of crashing into anything very simply on a bike. Now, the thing that I noticed with this is that it's really just about finding the right location. If you have an entire session of people trying to go for this, some people are going to be in certain spots where there's hardly any traffic, maybe get a score of 20, maybe 30 at a push, and some people are going to be getting a score like well over 100, as I managed to do in a few of my attempts with this. Now, like I said, the place that you are on the map is definitely the most important thing of this. Actually, missing the cars isn't too difficult in itself. If you follow the flow of traffic, cars will tend to just stay in their lanes. They don't freak out as if you're coming heads on towards them. So the place that I found was the best for this is actually on the east coast of the map, going up the highway, the one that goes past the oil refinery and the Humane Labs. Just that road all the way up the side of the map is probably the best place, and because I just found it had the most dense traffic in the entire game. So you can see in the gameplay here that even though it was nighttime, it was very easy to just weave in and out of traffic and go between two cars at a time. And this particular lane going north was the one that always seemed to have hundreds of cars on it, whereas if you try to go down the other way, coming from north to south, it seems like the amount of cars was very much reduced, and you wouldn't really stand a chance of getting anywhere as many points as I did in this challenge. So if you want to win the Close Call Challenge, this is definitely the place to do it, and definitely do it on a bike. Second up, I actually wanted to talk about the Criminal Damage Challenge. Now in this, for those of you that don't know, in this challenge, the premise is actually that within the 5 minutes that you're allocated, you have to cause as much damage as you possibly can. Now this involves just blowing up cars mainly, but there are other ways that you can do it. Now the main thing that you're going to want to do here is again, location. The thing that you want to find is the Vinewood Hills, as this is probably where there's the most dense amount of traffic that regularly passes and is actually stopped at a single time. You don't really want to go to the previous location that I said for the last challenge, because the cars are driving too fast, and in the time that you reload, you'll be missing a lot of cars, and they tend to be able to swerve out of the way on the motorway. Whereas if you go to the Vinewood Boulevard, as I am in this gameplay here, you'll see that they stop at the intersection a lot. Despite the fact that there's this crazy damage going on in this crazy rampage, they will still stop, and it makes a very easy target for you to be able to repeatedly shoot at the cars, and then they're blocked by the other kind of wreckage of the cars. You can use a minigun and rockets and sticky bombs, proximity mines, anything that causes mass damage to be able to easily take out a ton of cars at once. Now the special thing with this challenge is that you have to kind of be a bit careful with how far you go with damage. For example, in this gameplay, I actually used up loads of rockets. My score ended up well over $4 million. Now this was by far the highest in the lobby by quite a bit, so it meant that I obviously won the challenge. I managed to make 35 grand off of this. But the problem with it is that you have very much diminishing returns. It doesn't account for how much ammo you use up, so the ammo that I actually had to then go and buy back for all of my rockets, my miniguns and the sticky bombs and stuff went far over 35 grand. So I ended up winning this challenge and getting a bit of RP, but in the end I ended up losing money. So the trick with this challenge to making the most amount of money, or at least the best ratio of money, is that you have to kind of pace yourself and compare yourself to the other players in the game. You never want to have some crazy lead, especially if you're the only one at the boulevard here. You're typically going to win just by the fact that it's so easy to get it. I see a lot of people using tanks, but the reload time on the tanks can also be quite slow. And really, I've seen a lot of people getting a similar score as to when you're on foot, but it may seem that if you're in a Rhino, you could make a bit more money off of this, being that you only have the one-time purchase. That's really just up to you guys to try. I would still recommend doing this on foot, as I did manage to win this. The 3 times that I've done this, I've won it every single time in this location. But like I said, you do just have to be careful with quite how mad you go with the rampage. Kind of just pace yourself and only have a small lead, and only kill the things that you need to be able to keep the lead without using up too much ammo to the point where you end up losing money like I did. And that's pretty much it for these tips for the video. If you guys did enjoy it, be sure to go and drop a like down below, as it really would help me out as always. Subscribe for more videos just like this coming very soon, and leave a comment while you're down there telling me if you have any other tips for these Freemode events. But most importantly, what is your favourite Freemode event? Do you particularly like one of the 2 that I covered today? Do you like maybe the Hunt the Beast challenge? Anything like that? The low flying challenges? Some of the things have more to do with planes than on the ground. Anything like that? Leave it in a comment down below. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say about this new update. And finally, follow me on Twitter. There's a link in the description down below, where every day I post more random real life, graphic design and GTA 5 content. And that is pretty much it. Thank you guys all very much for watching. My name has been Flair, signing out.